Toronto Maple Leafs have made multiple moves and ahead of what's going to be an exciting regular season for the team. The Leafs have made a few very intriguing moves, but not only that, folks, it's actually happening surrounding Easton Cowan, following some big updates today and an interesting report regarding his future with the NHL team, with, of course, regards to where he's going to end up. Ton to go over today, but before we get to it all, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, it's the place to be for daily Leafs content. About 70% of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed to the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed. Folks, a lot to go over today. And Darius, obviously, we are getting closer and closer to the beginning of the regular season, and there's been some very interesting new developments surrounding Easton Cowan. But first, let's dive into the moves that they have made here. And I'm not going to dive into each and every one, but feel free to pause and read it. These guys have been sent back to the Marlies. Nothing too surprising here, but there is a couple. Landon Sim, Akhtiamov, obviously Barbolini, who scored a goal, I believe, the first or second preseason game. Darius, Luke Hames as well. Pretty interesting here. Obviously, the big storyline of this video is Easton Cowan, as there's some big new developments there. But let's start with the moves here. What are your thoughts on these?
Yeah, and there's going to be more cuts on the way as well over the course of the next couple of days. But I think it's very telling that Ben Danford hasn't been sent down yet. Easton Cowan has not been sent to the Marlies. He's sticking with the team. And the team is about to do their yearly trip to Muskoka, their bonding trip. So he's going to be around for that. They're keeping him around till the very last minute. Not only that, I think there's a good chance that he actually does end up making the team. Now, one other thing that I thought was interesting, because of course, we're not going to go through every player. A lot of these are not surprises, right, at this point, even though a couple guys did have pretty good training camps. And I think that, in the future could be players for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I'm keeping an eye on Chaz Sharp as well on the back end, obviously Cade Weber. But Dennis Hildeby hasn't been sent back yet either. So he's still with the main team. What's happening with James Reimer? We're going to get into that a little bit in terms of updates later in the video. So I think that's pretty telling as well that, there's no real update on Joseph Woll yet and what happens with the goaltending, because Dennis Hildeby hasn't been sent back yet either.
Yeah, very intriguing here. Nothing too out of the ordinary in the sense of these guys. It's more so guys who are left from the, of course, the actual team. So let's know down below what your thoughts are on that. Quite the interesting turn of events here as it pertains to Easton Cowan to dive into, but these are, of course, important moves as well. A few things to go over before we dive into Cowan fully from practice today. Stolarz, of course, recently extended, was pushed into the middle of the circle, so it's always good now to see, as even with Mitch Marner gone, the vibes seem to be, ironically or unironically, depending how you view it, higher than ever, and everyone seems to be enjoying it. But Darius, I want to dive into a pretty important piece here, and this is surrounding Easton Cowan. As you can see here, Cowan came in the white uniform today when he was, of course, coming onto the ice for practice at the FPC before heading to Muskoka. Robertson Kemp, Järnkrok, Pezzetta in the extra grays, Benoit in non-contact red. Darius, what does this mean? It means, and of course, some new reports have dropped from a few reporters. We'll dive into that briefly. But it seems like right now, and I believe it was James Myrtle or Mark Masters, someone at the arena basically said today, these are looking like the lines for the regular season game in about a week or so. And Easton Cowan factoring into that fourth line here. So there are not only moves coming, which have a video coming on probably tomorrow morning. Darius, Cowan is, at least I'm going to go ahead and say it, in my mind, all but confirmed to have made this team. We are too far in now for them, I think, to be just doing this to see how they fit. This was the fourth line that looked fantastic. I said it in the other video, and I know you are not necessarily a fan because of the development thing. They are all in on this, and this seems to be the way, especially with him wearing the white jersey and not the grays.
Well, whether I like it or not doesn't necessarily matter, because it looks like it's going to happen at this point. What I'm taking away from this practice, because again, the preseason is shortened now. You have 2 games left, and you're not trying to play around with things the last game of the preseason still. You want to see what your lineup looks like, and anything can change now still. There's still 2 games. Somebody can make a good impression, all of that stuff. But a lot of the guys that are on the outside looking in right now, the Leafs organization and Craig Berube know very well, like Nick Robertson. He's had him for the past year. David Kampf, Calle Järnkrok, all of these guys. Pezzetta, I think, is going to be in and out of the lineup, all year anyway. He's just that type of player for this team. But right now, this is the lineup, and there's no surprises in terms of goaltending. There's no surprises in terms of the defense core if everyone's healthy. But Cowan making the team as a fourth liner, that is a bit of a surprise, I think. I think he was going to make the lineup as, maybe a third line guy or something like that. But he's playing a different role for this team. And again, whether I like it or not, I think it's better for his development to play more minutes, to have control of the puck, all of that stuff. Maybe they envision him as a fourth liner on this team right now, and then he can get more opportunities as time goes on. Maybe he plays on power play too, stuff like that. They'll play around with it. So I think that's pretty exciting in and of itself. Even if he makes the team, I'm going to be rooting for it. I'm not saying this is a horrible decision or anything like that, right? I just think it might be better for his development. But not only that, they're going to experiment heading into the next game and obviously the trip to Muskoka. Domi on the first line. Does it work or does it not work? If it doesn't work, Michelli's going up there and Domi down to the third line, which I think is interesting because that second line to me is solidified at this point, and we saw it last year, and it worked pretty well. So I think that's very interesting. There are three things left to decide with this team through two preseason games. That's going to be interesting. Does Cowan stay? Is he on the fourth line? Is he that fourth liner? I think right now he's battling with Calle Jarnkrok for that spot. I think Nick Robertson, and we're going to talk about it in another video, Nick, probably traded at this point. So if Cowan does make this team, a trade is definitely coming because you are not losing some of these guys to waivers for nothing.
Yeah, and at this point, like, a trade seems pretty imminent here. But again, from Luke Fox, Easton Cowan remains in the fourth line role at the Leafs' first NHL main practice. And to give you guys some more background and insight in case you aren't familiar, today was their first really like NHL main practice, if you want to call it that. Yep. Like we mentioned earlier, a ton of moves are happening. They play October very, very soon. They play very, very soon here. So it's like the regular season is just around the corner. Now, Kampf, Pezzetta, Robertson, and Jarnkrok are skating on the fifth line. Obviously, a couple of those guys, a few of them will probably make the team. A trade is imminent here, whether it be Robertson, whether it be Jarnkrok, whether it be Kampf. There's been a lot of things picking up surrounding Nick Robertson lately. Stay tuned for a video on that. We do believe a move is coming there. And again, just hear from Lance Hornby. Leafs last practice before the Muskoka getaway. No changes in projected season opening lineup. Domi remains at Nyes and Austin. The all-newcomer third line sticks. And Cowan hanging in with Lawton and Lorentz. Benoit still in no contact red. And the other two are scratched. So bearing I can't even imagine what would have to happen for Easton Cowan to not make the fourth line at this point, because if they were going with Calle Jarnkrok, today would have been the day to not have him there. And I don't think anyone would have really batted a second eye. Like, we would have talked about it, of course, but at the end of the day, it would have made sense as well. More sense, maybe, but Cowan outplayed Jarnkrok. Cowan outplayed Kampf, and Cowan certainly outplayed, everybody else. Nick Robertson had an okay preseason like he usually does. Cowan outplayed everybody, both like externally in the sense of, on live TV in the preseason games, but also clearly internally. And this is something that is a little bit surprising, quite frankly, but the third line here seems to be, or fourth line, sorry, seems to be inevitable. Jarnkrok has looked very good. Trade for Robertson, I think, is inbound here. And something else on the goaltender note, Stolarz and Hildeby remain in net. There's no update surrounding Joseph Woll. I don't foresee him being ready anytime soon. So I think we're going to start, I almost know for a fact that we're going to start the season with Stolarz. Yep. James Reimer is the backup. Hildeby is the third guy ready to come up with that team up behind him. And then other than that, you have Easton Cowan, at least as of now, starting on the fourth line. And boy, is that literally probably the most exciting possible outcome from training camp. Of course, not the Joseph Woll, the Easton Cowan thing. So very, very interesting here.
And I think the thing with Cowan making the team as well, again, is it the best thing for his development? I'm not so sure, right? But time will tell, of course. But if you end up trading one of Calle Jarnkrok, David Kampf, and Nick Robertson, you free up that cap space. So then you can add something at the trade deadline as well because your team is cheaper, right? So I think that is another element of all of this. Does Cowan stick around all season? Even if he doesn't, and you trade one guy, you still have a couple players, being reserved right now, right? So I think that it could make sense in that way. So keep an eye on that. The other thing too, in terms of the goaltending, like you just brought up the update, there's no update on Joseph Woll. I don't foresee him coming back anytime soon. Even if he does, he's going to have to get back up to speed, do his training, all of that stuff. So he's going to be gone for a while. James Reimer today is skating with the Marlies group again, but only to get up to speed. That was the report. So he could end up being the backup goaltender of this team, and then Hildeby, get some more experience through the preseason. Maybe he gets into a game, one of the last two here, and then he's sent back to the Marlies as well. So just from my point of view, I think with everything and all the language that's being used, I think James Reimer is going to be the backup goaltender for the team heading into the regular season, which honestly, I'm pretty excited about because, around the time I was growing up and watching the Leafs and stuff like that, he was the guy. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, let us know what your thoughts are. And again, I covered it yesterday, or we did the report. There was a recent one from one of the reporters revealing that that's their plan right now regarding James Reimer, assuming Woll's out. So let us know down below what your thoughts are. Lots of videos coming. Thank you guys for watching.